Moon Highway, you and Christia chugging Crown and Coke again?
Sober since 2019. Worse than tequila nightmares.
Gang, what's up? Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney. Let's take a look. Melanie Joly is here on CBC with Rosemary Barton. How are they going to try to twist the narrative that Carney went to Washington and didn't get his absolutely handed to him by Donald Trump, but instead made some kind of inroad or some bull that they're going to try to jam down your throat? That's my suspicion. Maybe Rosie will remember how to be a real journalist and ask pertinent questions. I highly doubt it. Let's take a look and a listen. I'm sure her producers are watching. Let's take a look.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
There are areas where we compete, and it's in those areas where we have to come to an agreement that works. But there are more areas where we are stronger together, and that's what we're focused on. And we're going to get the right deal. Right deal for America, right deal, obviously, from my perspective, for Canada.
Prime Minister Mark Carney made his second trip to the Oval Office to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump. Although Carney left Washington empty-handed in terms of a deal, both the President and Prime Minister were optimistic that a deal on tariff relief will be struck. In the meantime, Ottawa continues to put forward measures to support Canada's economy in the face of those tariffs. The latest, a new industrial strategy meant to bolster key Canadian sectors, including doing things like protecting jobs through procurement and buying Canadian by boosting demand at home, leveraging Canada's tech and energy sectors to create jobs, and attracting global talent to make Canada the top destination for science and research at universities. But with no trade deal on the horizon, will this be enough? Melanie Joly is the Minister of Industry. Minister, nice of you to make the time. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Rosie.
I want to talk more about your industrial strategy because it is, I think, very much in direct response to the economic threats from Donald Trump. But I will start, obviously, with that because you were in the Oval Office this week with the Prime Minister. What did you take, and I know you won't go into details of the negotiations, but what did you take away from that meeting in terms of momentum and the idea that we might be able to get some relief in a particular sector?
Well, I think you saw that there was a very respectful discussion and tone from between the Prime Minister and the President. I think one of the challenges that we all have as a delegation and the Prime Minister has is, and it's the case, by the way, for all countries dealing with the U.S. right now, is that there's only one decision maker in the U.S. administration, and it's President Trump himself. So it's really important for the Prime Minister to be able to have FaceTime with him, to be able to sit down with him one-on-one, to have conversations, because at the end of the day, he's going to be the one that will be striking the deal. So that was also part of the ongoing engagement, making sure that they could really build on that relationship. And I think that's why the outcome this week was a positive one. Well, we know that, no deal has been struck. We know that negotiations are going ahead in the right direction.
I'm glad you made the point about one decision maker because, as you know, Howard Lutnick then went on to give a speech and speak to a Canadian audience and suggested that the auto industry would not be part of any further trade deal. And that, I know, is directly probably of concern to you. How did you take those comments and how concerned are you about the auto sector? Because when the auto sort of stakeholders heard that, they felt like maybe they were being left behind in trade talks.
Well, when U.S. officials talk, we need to make sure that we listen and that we take good note of what they're saying. So it's not as if what the Secretary of Commerce has mentioned is not worth listening, although indeed there's only one decision maker, to my point. Let me be clear, and I've said that in numerous interviews this week. Well, after the comments by the U.S. Commerce Secretary, we will fight for every single job in the auto sector. These are our jobs. These are our people. And we'll make sure that we stand with them, that we work with them. We've done so because we had a remission process, which is a way for car companies in Canada to be exempted from countermeasures, which at the time we had in place. And then we've also put on the table the Strategic Response Fund, which is a really important fund of $5 billion to support through strategic investments these different plants. Also, it's important, Rosie, for our viewers to understand that more than 60% of the car making in Canada is done through Toyota and Honda, which are Japanese car makers. And I'll be heading to Japan to have conversations with the global CEOs of these plants a bit later this month. So I've been in contact with Lana Payne, who's the head of Unifor, representing so many workers. I've been in contact with also many CEOs in the sector, including also important voices from the sector, Flavio Volpe. But we need to make sure that we have a very strong stance and a good strategy.
So let's pivot back to what you were talking about this week, sort of in response to all of this, the industrial strategy. Explain to me how that is going to potentially make up for a loss of market in the United States or a loss of a trading partner in some sectors.
Well, you know, we know we're too dependent on the U.S. That's the case. That's because we've built our economy a lot based on free trade with the Americans. And 70% of our production, nearly, when we export, is going to the US. So I presented a strategy which was about protecting jobs, creating jobs, and attracting talent and investment. But at the same time, we just saw Irving Shipyard for the first time in 15 years of building ships for our Navy has made its first order of Canadian steel to Algoma. So that's good news. And we're seeing C-SPAN in Vancouver, which is another big shipyard, making another agreement with Algoma. So we need to see more of that. But fundamentally, in terms of creating jobs, what we need to do is we'll have a new defense industrial strategy, which will increase the potential of great jobs for people in different sectors. And my last point is we want to build more great Canadian companies. We have great Canadian companies that have influence in the world. What we need more. We need to scale them up, and we need more of that.
What are the policy measures that you will put in place to attract foreign investors, allow for Canadian companies to grow? Like, what are the mechanisms you're going to use? It can't just be, you know, Canadian companies want to help each other. I would imagine they also want to get something out of it.
Of course. So when you look at the defense industrial strategy, what we can do is to use the power of procurement, because companies at the end of the day, Rosie, want contracts rather than subsidies. They can plan, they can hire people, they can really be able to invest, do more R&D.
Everybody remembers the old saying, like the power of procurement from high school. Everybody remembers that one.
The other thing also to attract foreign direct investments, and obviously we're seeing that through our major projects, $60 billion worth of private investments in 5 projects that the Prime Minister announced in September. So that's also a good way to attract foreign direct investment. And my last point is we want to make sure we cut red tape, that we're able also to offer stability in terms of the environment, because a lot of investors are looking at different jurisdictions and are thinking that there may be sometimes too much risk because of instability. And so right now, Canada has this great potential of attracting capital from the world because of our stable democracy and our good environment to invest. So I'll continue to work on that for sure.
Okay, we will leave it there. Minister, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rosie.
We'll wrap it up right there, gang. Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney, like, share, subscribe, get notified. Come and join us for one of our live shows. We do a lot of those too. We cover all the question periods, a bunch of other things. Watch one of the other videos that are floating around here. Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney trying to bring you what it is I'm seeing in federal politics. You can make up your own mind. I'll share my 2 cents. It's worth about that. But that is what we're doing right here. Aaron, Kennedy, and Looney, like, share, subscribe, get notified, come and join us for one of the live shows. We've got the best chat room online. You can come and Verify that for yourself. We'll catch you in the next video.
As a European, I am a
European.
European, actually.
Oh, you are?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh.
I'm Irish citizen. Yeah, so there you
welcome.
go.
Welcome.
Speaking as a European,
WTF.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein?
More than just elbows.
And as the most European of the non-European countries,
Being aware of what potential conflicts of interest you
What
sought
possible
to avoid.
conflict would you have, Stephanie? Stephanie, I'm complying with the rules. I'm complying with the rules in advance. Confiance.
These are Muslim values. These are Canadian values.
Hi, everyone. Congratulations, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined.
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
All right, gang, thank you all very much for watching. Aaron, Canadian Loony, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe. We're trying to grow this thing. Canadian Federal Politics. Get yours right here. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.